Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar. We will welcome all of you for taking out your valuable time and joining us on this session. Today, we are going to continue in the series of webinar in the PMI UAE chapter as usual. And the people who are joining it first time, welcome. Welcome on board with us. And we wish that you will continue with us this journey going down the line with other webinars as well. You take some more time for allowing some more people to come in and join us who have registered on this particular session. We have seen more than 300 registration coming up on this particular session. So that's a good turnout. We are expecting it. So just give a couple of more minutes for the rest of the audience to come and join us. And then we will formally start the session in 5 minutes more from here maximum. Meanwhile, you can use the chats to introduce yourself and then start networking with the people if you would like to. And then you can introduce your location, what sector do you belong to. That is a good pointer for the rest of the audience to know from where do you come from and what industry and sector do you work with. So feel free to make yourself acquainted with the other people in chat section. And we would be also giving you the answers during the webinar as well. In the chat, if you have interactions, keep it going. We welcome all that. So this event is just not a knowledge sharing session. It's more of a kind of interactive session. Of course, not the active interaction, but over the chat, definitely that is fully allowed so that we can make best use of our time and the networking opportunity as well. Good evening. Good evening. I think we see the people. Oh, wow. Somebody joined from Canada. So welcome. Bincy Matthew from Canada. From Pakistan, from UAE, of course. We normally see the people and audience coming from all GCCs. And we are good to see that people are outside GCC also coming and joining us. So while people are joining, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Anchal, and I'm your host for this webinar today. And more importantly, I have been joined with just not alone with me. There is a team of people who have been working really hard behind the scenes. Joyce, Parvez, Amir, and Ankur. We all are belonging to the event team, and the marketing team also is going to a lot of role in terms of advertising these webinars in terms of all social media channel, which you're seeing in the PMI UAE chapter social handles. So we all are welcoming you again, and then we are grateful that you are taking time and joining us for this knowledge sharing session. Again, it's good morning or good afternoon or good evening, whichever from wherever you're joining. We have today our esteemed speaker and guest, Ms. Iris, who is going to take us through her experience on the topic of the today's webinar, which is Fourth Industrial Revolution from the project manager's perspective. So what we are going to talk about today is something which is more of a kind of something which we have been hearing about, okay? But we will learn a lot of things behind it, that how did it all started, and then what are the interesting aspects around Industry 4.0, what we also attach it to the digitization aspect as well in different sectors. We are specifically going to talk about manufacturing and automotive also because our background is very rich in those particular aspects. We will explore how the disruptive technologies are really transforming the global industry and driving this fourth industrial revolution, while we are trying to examine all the historical roots and their impact on all of us as a society and even on our economics. So before we take our deep dive with our speaker, I would like to explain some housekeeping rules so that we will make the best use of this session. More importantly, what we are going to do is that in the next 1 hour or 15-minute session kind of thing, we have a set agenda to follow. We'll go through the brief introduction of the PMI UAE chapter. Especially, it will be helpful for the people who have not joined the chapter yet. We are going to do a small presentation around that, and then we will have a short time at the end after the session as well for the question and answer, where Iris and I will do our level best to accommodate all the questions within the time frame. If somebody's question doesn't get answered, definitely there is an opportunity for the person to ask that answer directly to Iris as well. There will be a LinkedIn code at the end of the session, so people can get in touch with her as well. We encourage you to really post all your thoughts and make this chat as interactive so that people can make best use of networking opportunities and engaging one. With regard to your questions, please always stick those questions in the question and answer section and rather than on the chat section. Now, let's begin with the chapter introduction that will allow us to introduce the chapter activities and who we are as a chapter and why we exist. So allow me to share my screen quickly. And that will land up into the project slides here. Okay, great. So let's begin formally, guys. So Project Management Institute, of course, we are the part of the PMI UA, and then the chapter itself is one of the subsidiaries of the big umbrella of the PMI. Was founded in 1969 by the group of working project managers, as we must be knowing about. Even after 50 years now we are engaged with this organization, PMI, with the source and resource of all the project related things as a stream. We are one of the largest professional association in the world, issued globally recognized standards and credentials, and we offer a lot of trainings, accreditation, and communities. Sponsor, publish research and thought leadership, and plus the knowledge content is also one of the core part of the Project Management Institute. Specifically, as a part of UAE chapter, we have a vision to empower and influence individual with innovative project economy principles to turn ideas into reality. To achieve this vision, the mission statement goes along the line to disrupt and create value-driven opportunities to our chapter members and partners to become agile, innovative, productive in the platform for the growth of project economy. With that, this is our chapter. As you can see, the few pictures. Chapter is 100% run by volunteers. Okay, so near about 4,000 plus active members exist in this chapter at the moment. It is ranked among the top 5 chapters in EMA region, and also it is also serving as an aspiring community for PMs and PM certified holders under the project and program management as a stream and capabilities to offer and living important as a professional life. We depend on all of you to make our chapter activities as interactive and invigorating as possible, and join the chapter as a core member as well. Our chapter board is led by Mr. Adil Sultan as a president, and who has been accompanied by rest of the board directors alongside. So we have some specific benefits being the part of PMIUA chapter. Those goes alongside the networking opportunities. We also do the learning and knowledge sharing, career growth opportunities and events. So this particular webinar is the section under the events pillar, where we do all these knowledge sharing sessions. I think most of the time we try to keep it up with the pace of 2 webinars a month. A few of the recent initiatives which we have taken 2024, and then really making a mark with the chapter. So basically we have introduced a members corner and also introduced the member spotlight, where you have opportunity as a member to contribute, share your ideas, and also position yourself with the kind of commitment and knowledge what you can get and share it with the rest of the community over there. If you try to gather more information about the chapter, definitely you're encouraged to go to the pmiua.org and rest of the social media handles. All these different email addresses, what you're seeing down there, are very useful for you to get in touch with the people. Specifically, let me just try to keep this up. Yep. So for general inquiries, for volunteering related activities, and for membership related activities, we have a specific dedicated email address. Definitely make use of them, and you should be able to get the best out of them. So that brings me to the end of the chapter introduction PPT now. Now let's get back to the topic, what we are going to discuss, and what more importantly, I would like to share about Iris. So let me speak something about her quickly so that we can get stage over to her there. She comes with more than 16 years of experience in project management and digital transformation. Iris has been certified in PMP, PMI Business Analyst, PMI Agile as a coach, and her passion to the project management started early in 2000. And after doing her grads in the computer science in 2006, she started successful consulting career in IT project management and digital transformation. In 2008, Iris joined the founding phase of Fourth Industrial Revolution in Germany as one of the first women worldwide. During her career, she supported companies worldwide in the digitization of their product development process. Her MBA in innovation management entrepreneurship inspired her signature approach for a holistic and human-friendly digital transformation. In 2018, she founded her own consulting company in Dubai to bring her rich experience from Germany to Middle East. Additionally, she offers project coaching and training in project management and digital transformation. Iris is one of the first board members in the PMI Germany chapter who lives permanently abroad. So with that, I think Iris has done great work around so far. And now I would like to hand over the stage to her so that we can learn and share and earn something in the form of knowledge from herself. Over to you, Iris.
Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Hello from Dubai. And I want to emphasize that I'm a member of PMI UAE chapter, and I think they are doing a great work for the project management industry. So if you're not a member, think about becoming one today, because this chapter is really outstanding, and I saw them grow in the past few years, and they had great achievements and great sessions like today, and also other workshops were also really outstanding. So I can totally recommend to become a member here. So let's jump to our topic today. I'm very grateful and thankful. I want to say thank you for PMI UAE chapter for organizing this webinar, and also give some space for Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is a topic which is not that popular at the moment in the UAE. Some of you may heard about it already, but it is not something which is omnipresent here, or you hear a lot about it, or you see it, or you can experience it. I think it's still in the starting phase in the country. So today I will give you some insights about what does it mean and what challenges does it bring for project managers. Yeah. As we already heard, I'm doing project management in Industry 4.0 projects since a long time now. So I've seen a lot of things, I've experienced a lot of things. And I can tell you, not everything is fun on that. Yeah, sometimes it can be very challenging. It's a very challenging industry. Yeah. So let's dive a little bit into that stuff. And I brought you some slides, I brought you some stories about how it is to work in Industry 4.0 and the good things on it, and also where it came from. Yeah, because I was there when it started, which was a very interesting time, because honestly, we had no idea what we are doing. Really zero, we had no idea what we are doing. And it remembers me a little bit when I see what is going on with AI at the moment. I think, wow, this is a similar situation like we had at this time. Yeah. And by the way, I studied AI from 2002 to 2006. So my computer science study had a lot of AI courses. Yeah. And this was my foundation of technical knowledge when I started my Industry 4.0 career. Yeah. So many things came together when I started. And so I thought I'd give you some insights into my educational background. As I already mentioned, I have a master and a bachelor in computer science. And the interesting thing is that it was very early when I studied AI. It was from 2002 to 2006. And the other thing was that this university study included also working in organizational psychology. And this played a big role in the way how I am doing Industry 4.0 projects. And it still has an impact on how I'm doing my projects in the year 2024. Yeah. Because these working in organizational psychology brought me into ideas and methodologies which were not common in the early 2000 years in project management. If I tell you now in the year 2024 that I did change management in my projects, you will say, what is special there? The special thing was in the years 2006, 2007, 2008, or even 2009. Change management was a very exotic thing in most of the projects, especially when it came to IT projects. There was not much change management. Yeah, there was not much thinking about how the users feel, how they can deal with transformation or things like that. Yeah, so digital transformation started very early for me. I graduated from university in 2006. And immediately I got my first digital transformation project, which was just a side gig at this time for my work, because I worked in PMO and I was responsible for project management of 22 projects in parallel, additional to my digital transformation project. Yeah. And I just did it because I was new to project management. So I had no idea about that maybe 22 projects in parallel are not normal. Yeah. So for me, it was just put into cold water and then, yeah, just swim, do it somehow, survive it somehow. And yeah, that was, by the way, the reason why I quit after 2 years and switched to another company and landed in the end in Industry 4.0. Yeah. And I also want to stress out that this education background in the early years of Industry 4.0 was very unique. When I arrived in the Industry 4.0 in the year 2008, my colleagues didn't like me. They were very reserved against me. They always told me, what are you doing here? We don't need IT idiots. You can go home. Yeah. What was the reason for that? Nowadays, we would say, yes, Industry 4.0 has to do with digital transformation. Of course, you need somebody who is skilled in computer science, who has a knowledge of IT, who knows about software, who knows about IT project management. Yeah, now it's logical. And we say, yeah, of course, you need this kind of people. But when I started in 2008, Industry 4.0 was totally different. Even the name Industry 4.0 was not existing. Yeah. So these people who were working on the early steps in Industry 4.0 at this time, they were engineers, mechanical engineers, plant designers. They learned how to design an engine for a car, or they knew how to design an airplane, or they know a lot about manufacturing. This was what they had as skills. And then I came in with my IT background as a project manager, and the first reaction what they had, go home, we don't need you. Yeah, you have no idea how to design an engine. You don't know anything about how we assemble things. You have never been to production. And then I said, oh no, stop. I know about production. Yeah, what saved me in this situation was that I come from a family with a manufacturing background. Yeah, so I remember my first memories about the shop floor was when I was standing in front of a machine. It was an injection mold machine. And I was on the hand of my grandfather, and I think I was about 4 or 5 years old. Yeah. So I had some manufacturing knowledge. Of course, I was not an engineer, but at least I could understand what they were talking about. And that saved me in this industry at these early times. Yeah. So, yeah. But I can say since between 2008 and 2019, I did most of my Industry 4.0 career. I had many long-term industry projects at this time. And these projects, from a project management background, you can say they are very huge, very complex, and they're long running. So if you have a short Industry 4.0 project, it's probably 12 months. But 12 months is very short. Usually you have 2 years, 3 years. This is totally normal. Sometimes it's 7 years, 8 years. And I had one customer company They were doing Industry 4.0 projects in a row, I think about for 18 years. Every time when they have finalized the project, they started the next one, and so they continued all the way on. So my customers are mostly manufacturing companies. If you're familiar with the German economy, I have mostly DAX and MDAX companies, which are the big ones in Germany. So my customers came from various industries. It was all manufacturing, it was automotive, mainly. So I had some of the big players in automotive. I was working for them on a digital transformation of their product development processes. And energy, I had some customers from energy, railway, aerospace, and then there came the plant manufacturing, what was the hardest one, yeah. Because doing Industry 4.0 projects means, especially if you're working as a project manager, you have to learn how your customer is manufacturing their products. That means if I work for a customer in an automotive industry, I have to learn how they manufacturing cars. Really, I have to learn this. Yeah, I have to read the bill of materials of a car, for example. I have to know how they design the car, and I know what is the difference between designing a tire or designing a driver's seat. Yeah, you see, it's both a digital twin. Yes, it was both a digital twin, but the way how they are doing it is totally different. And then the plant manufacturing kicked in, and I was with a customer twice who's doing plant manufacturing. That means these guys are manufacturing the assembly lines which the other ones use for their manufacturing. And if you come to a plant manufacturer, you have to think like they work, and they do everything reverse. So I had all to learn all the processes like I learned before. I had to do now reverse. Yeah, and this was a really big challenge. Yeah. So when I worked in these Industry 4.0 projects, I had many different hats and many different roles. Sometimes I was just a consultant. Sometimes I was a test manager responsible for the quality assurance. I was a rollout manager, I was a change manager, I did training management, and sometimes I was a project manager or portfolio manager. At the moment, I'm back to Industry 4.0. Since nearly 2 years, I'm managing a big portfolio of digital transformation projects for an automotive supplier in Europe. And what they do is also they had a lot of digital transformation projects in the field of Industry 4.0, which we have combined to a portfolio. And this is what I'm managing with them, develop the strategies for this portfolio and so on. And after all that work and all these years with all these industries, I came to a conclusion and I found out, wow, it doesn't matter what industry they are working, if it's automotive or is it military or aerospace or railway, they have all similar challenges and hurdles when it comes to Industry 4.0. Yeah, so they have similar problems, similar challenges. So I thought about how we can go there. Yeah. But maybe first I give you a small introduction in what is Industry 4.0. And you can see it has many, many names. I don't want to go all over these names. But the term Industry 4.0, when do you think it was invented? Somebody has a clue about when it was invented? I can't see the chat, unfortunately. Okay, I can help you a little bit. It was in 2011. It was a research project going on from the German government. And as one of the presentations who showed the outcome of these projects was a presentation during the Hannover Fair in 2011. And there was the term invented, Industry 4.0. And this is the reason why the Germans still see themselves as the inventors of Industry 4.0, because the German government had this big research project where different organizations were involved. And by the way, these organizations, they are still doing research for Industry 4.0 for the government till now. It is continuing all the way. And as I mentioned, I joined Industry 4.0 in 2008. That means I'm longer in this field than the word existed. So when the word came out on this Hanover Fair presentation, it was a very strange moment for me in work, because my colleague and I, we looked at each other and say, isn't that what we are doing since years? Yeah, because we can say that the starting point of Industry 4.0 was in the late 1990 years. Yeah, so it was already ongoing. There were already projects, but the term itself was invented in 2011. Yeah, much later than the project and started, and this wave of Industry 4.0 started. So this German government has a ministry which is the BMBF. The BMBF is the Federal Ministry for Education and Research in Germany. And of course, they were the ones who said, this is what we want to research. This was where the name was created. So I thought I'd bring you the definition of Industry 4.0 from that ministry. So how they define it, yeah, and I show it to you. And what they're saying is, they say it's a future-oriented industry 4.0 project. And it was the aim to put the German industry in a position to be equipped for the future of production. So you see, it's a lot of future orientation there. And it was a typical German thing. So it was researched and invented to put the German industry into a future-ready position. Yeah. When you follow the news after the past few days, you see they still have some issues. Yeah, so they are not so future ready as it was originally planned with that research project, but that was the cradle of Industry 4.0. Yeah. And what they also saw is, and this was very innovative at this time, is they saw at the late 2000 years, so 2008, 2009, when this research project was ongoing, they saw that there is a need for making products more individual. And that means that their production had to be more flexible now. Yeah. And this was one of the core goals of Industry 4.0 for the research project. And what we also said is that customers and business partners should be involved in the way how business is done and value is created. So value creation, value chain is a big topic in Industry 4.0 still. And also it was thought about how we can combine production of good with high quality service afterwards. Yeah. And it was also that they thought about how we can make decision making easier. Yeah. And how we can put the value creation in the center of everything. Yeah. So this was the intention of this research project on Industry 4.0. And it's still valid. Yeah. So when we come to the conclusion, what is Industry 4.0 all about? Yeah. And we can look a little bit deeper into that. Then we see it is a disruptive transformation process. Yeah. And it's not one process, it's targeting many areas of a manufacturing company. Yeah. So it also aims for intelligent networking. So everything should be connected to each other. The machine should be connected. The processes should be connected. The people should be connected to the machines, all these things. Yeah. And we tried also to merge production and IT, information and communication technology. We tried to bring it together and to aim for customer-centered solutions. And it should be really customer-centered here, which also means that we aimed for a shorter time to market, yeah, which means that we had also an impact on how we do logistics, yeah. So that means that we also brought in new technologies for our supply chain. On the same way, we have more compliance to standards and high quality products. Yeah, this was also a thing that we aimed for. I don't know if you're familiar with the German railway accident. There was a very bad accident also at this time, short before this research project started, where many people died. So we said, okay, we also have to bring in more quality, more compliance to standards. We have to improve how we manufacture. We have to improve the outcome of the quality of our products. And It is also about communication between people, but also from people to machines, machines to machine, the systems, the logistic, the suppliers, the customers. It's all connected and communicating, and the network is bringing them together. And then one step ahead is also, okay, we are not longer limit ourselves to manufacturing goods. We can also think about, are there digital business models where we can also earn money from, which we can combine with our typical production business and manufacturing business. So this was also about Industry 4.0. And you can imagine this can't be covered with one project. It is impossible to cover this all with one project. Yeah. So Industry 4.0 means always a bunch of different projects with different technologies, different processes. And usually you don't do everything at the same time. You do it, you look what is the thing, what you're aiming for. You want to become more effective, or you want to have more compliance or more standardization. And then you go first for that. Yeah. We can also say that Industry 4.0 has four big main pillars. The one is the networking. As I mentioned, everything is connected with everything. Yeah. The other thing is that we are aiming for information transparency. Yeah. That means that we have to think about what data do we have in our company and how we can use that data and how we can make it transparent. Yeah. Then also technical assistance is one of the pillars. So it's not about replacing people with technology. It's about how can technology assist the people in the daily work. Yeah. And also about how we can decentralize our decisions. Yeah. How we can empower machines to make decisions on their own, even if they are not connected to a super central computer at a time. Yeah. Because this is not possible in some manufacturing situations. Yeah. So we have a lot about the so-called edge computing. I don't know if somebody's familiar with that. This is one of the technologies which also play a role here. But we have also IoT, Internet of Things, which is very crucial for Industry 4.0. We have things like Web 2.0, XML, cyber physical systems, a lot of things. Yeah. What do we need to go for Industry 4.0? We need some enablers. One of the first thing is what we need, what I already mentioned, is networking. If you can't connect the machines with each other, there's no Industry 4.0. The same as data. If you don't have data which you can use for Industry 4.0, forget it. Yeah. And this is two crucial things, but we also needed some more things. We needed affordable storage and computing power. We need these new technologies, as I mentioned already, Internet of Things, XML. AI is a very interesting technology for Industry 4.0. It will bring Industry 4.0 much further. We also need some hardware devices, for example, wearables, smartwatches, tablets. We need infrastructure for the digitalization. Yeah, we need modern software solutions. We need ERP systems, PLM systems. And the last point, what we really need as an enabler, we need acceptance of these new technologies, which brings us to the hurdles. I can tell you that the technologies are not an issue. Technology-wise, Industry 4.0 is good handled. Yeah, we have a lot of technologies. Technologies are not our problem. What is the problem? You can see there are some digits from Germany. It's from the year 2019, and it's from the official government entity who is providing the statistics. And you can see that the biggest hurdle are the high investment costs. As I've said, these projects are very huge, very complex, very long. That means they cost a lot of money. Yeah. So the most expensive project I was involved in, they had software development costs, only software development costs, no license costs, no hardware costs, no server costs, only the software development cost. It was 100 million euros, which is about 400 million dirham. Yeah, so this is the cost what you can have if you go for Industry 4.0. Even if I have a small Industry 4.0 project, it can go up to 1 or 2 million euros per year only for software development. Yeah, no servers, no cloud storage, no software licenses, only the software development costs. Then, of course, we have a lot of a high topic, which is data protection. We have to think about how we can protect the data from misuse, from getting lost, data security. Then we have to think with the skilled employees. Of course, the people have to be retrained. They have to learn new skills for the Industry 4.0, because if you really do Industry 4.0, it's really a disruption in how you're working. So you need new ways of working, new processes, which means that you have to retrain your employees. Yeah, and you have to get also employees who know about the new technologies. Then you can see 45% of the people who responded to the survey say also complexity is an issue for Industry 4.0 product. Yeah. And then also we had some legal issues, lack of acceptance, so lack of standards. As I said in the beginning, there was nothing, there was no book, no standard, and we had no idea what we were really doing. We were doing trial and error and survived somehow. Yeah. And what I found out, what really helped me to understand Industry 4.0 and really also was a deal breaker for me to develop strategies, was really to understand the history of the industrial revolutions, but also the history of how we are working. And this is the bridge to what I told you in the beginning, where my education and working in organizational psychology kicked in. Yeah, because I looked back and looked and took a close look into the first industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution, the third one, and then I learned for the fourth one. Yeah, and by the way, this is also what I do very intensively if I'm teaching Industry 4.0. We always go through the previous industrial revolutions and we try to learn from them. And first the students say, oh, we want to learn about AI and robots, and now you're teaching that stuff. It's not a history class, why are you doing that? But when I explain them about what is the reason why they should learn about and what they can get out of that, they are really eager about getting more information about the Industrial Revolution. So I want to also give you a short overview here, very short, but we should go a little bit. So the first industrial revolution was from 1760 to about 1840. And it was the big invention was there, the steam engine, which was invented by James Watt. Yeah. And the steam engine, it was also water power, but the steam engine played a bigger role here. The steam engine, it changed so much because, hey, now mass production was available. Yeah, so the steam engine brought new transportation opportunities like the railway, but also the ship, yeah, the steamship. And also, of course, we had the possibility to do mass production of goods. Yeah. So the first bigger factories were built, and yeah, as you can imagine, this changed everything. Yeah. So the people came to the cities. There were the factories because the factories were built in the cities. So the people moved to the cities. That was the first form of urbanization. Urbanization is still going on, but that was how it started. And that brought a lot of challenges for the society and a lot of ethical discussions too. Yeah. So you can imagine if all the people who lived in the countryside now want to live in the city, yeah, there is a challenge because there was not enough housing space. Yeah. So the people squeezed themselves into much too tiny apartments, yeah, because they had to live somewhere. And this is something what we also can see in some areas of Dubai, by the way, yeah, nowadays. And but during the time of the first industrial revolution, it brought some additional challenges because it was the first time that this happened. So it was from the housing conditions what they had, they were very inhumane, and That means they had problems with the hygiene. Yeah, the problems with the hygiene were leading to diseases. On the other hand, the waste pollution in the cities increased. The air pollution was a big topic. So air pollution is not a new topic, what we have now at the moment, because we see, oh, we have to reduce the air pollution because of the climate. It was also a topic during the first industrial revolution. Yeah, they had to fight with air pollution too. Yeah. And I told you there was also other challenges. There was a challenge also for the society because the unemployment rate rised. Yeah, because there were machines now. Yeah, and the machines replaced a part of the workforce. Yeah, the people were not retrained; they were kicked out, and they had to struggle to make their living. And on the other hand, there was an ethical decision or discussion ongoing about child labor. Child labor is very tied together with the first industrial revolution. And you can see it if you go for history reports, you can see there were reports that children from the age of 4 to about 10 years, they were used for child labor. And they were working for 10, 12, or even sometimes more hours per day. Yeah. So it was a discussion from the society, is this ethical to abuse these children for labor? When we come to the second industrial revolution, we had an involvement in how the manufacturing was done. Yeah, there were new technologies. The new technologies at this time were the assembly line and the arcade work. And this dramatically changed the skill level which was needed from the workers. If we look for car manufacturing, because Ford is one of the big examples for the second industrial revolution. So Ford is, yeah, one of the template companies. If you come to the second industrial revolution, it is really worth to have a close look what Henry Ford did in Detroit at this time. And what he did is he completely changed the way how cars were manufactured. Before Henry Ford was working on the second industrial revolution and was inspired by Winston Taylor, to change the processes, how cars were manufactured. The car manufacturing was a very high skilled work because the workers were trained a long time to learn how to manufacture a car. And the people who were in automotive at this time, they learned how to manufacture a car from the start till the end. So they could, every work package which is required to manufacture this car was done by one person. So they worked as a small team, 3 or 4 people, and these 3 or 4 people, they built up the car completely from the beginning till the end. And what Henry Ford did, he completely changed that. He said, no, this is not the work what we do. We will split the work into small work packages, and then we train the workers only to do that specific work package. Yeah. So we are coming down from high-skilled labor to people who just know 1 or 2 smaller work packages. And what they also did, they did a strict separation from planning and execution, and also strict separation from thinking and acting. Yeah. So we can still see this. We can still see this. So Taylorism, as is called Taylorism, has also an impact in the way how we are working today. And it had also a big impact in how project management was done for a long time. Yeah. Because think about planning and execution is strictly separated. We see that in a strict waterfall approach. If you follow a traditional strict waterfall approach, you do the planning first, yeah, in a separate phase, and then later on you execute everything what you planned before. Yeah, remember? So there's some similarity to the Taylorism, which was typical for the second industrial revolution. Yeah. And when I do Industry 4.0 projects, some of my customer companies, they are more than 100 years old. Yeah. So I'm dealing with customer companies who had been founded during the first industrial revolution or after the first industrial revolution, which means they have participated in the second industrial revolution and also participated in the third industrial revolution. And they have heritage about them. They have legacy from these industrial revolutions. And I see it. I still see it in the year 2024. I see at these long traditional companies, I see some heritage coming out from the second industrial revolution. Yeah. You can see it in the processes. You can see it in the way how they work, in the way how they communicate, in the mindset of the company. You see that. Yeah, you see a lot of Taylorism in these companies sometimes. Yeah. And not in all of them, but in some you can see that. And then later on, there was the third industrial revolution, which was from about 1970 to about 1995. This was the time when the personal computer, the PC, get affordable and it moved into the offices. And also there we had a tremendous change in the way how the people worked. Yeah. And you had also challenges for that, because also here the people had to retrain. We had also, again, an impact on society, like we had also for the first, the second, and the third industrial revolution. So it is still there. And even in the fourth industrial revolution, which is about ongoing since 1999, some people said, oh, we're already done with fourth industrial revolution. We are now in the fifth industrial revolution. But this is a discussion. We can say fourth industrial revolution is ongoing. It started about 1999. And we can see that we have similar challenges. Now AI comes in, now technologies like robots come in. What do we have again? Retraining. Yeah, we have to change the education for work. We have to think about new university studies. We have to think about the job profiles. Some job profiles will become obsolete, like we had already in the first industrial revolution and the second industrial revolution and the third industrial revolution. Yeah, it's coming again. And we have to think about new technologies. We have to learn how to work with these new technologies. I say Gen AI. Yeah, everybody, I think, who is a PMI member is about aware what is generative AI, and maybe have already done some courses which are offered from PMI on that stuff. Yeah, so it's here again. And again, what we have here is that new job roles are created, that companies have to think about how we want to work in the future. And we have, again, ethical and legal aspects which need to be considered. Yeah, for example, legal. Is it okay to use an AI? What should I do with my data? How can I protect my data? And also we have to think about pollution and sustainability. And okay, how can we use digital transformation in production? How we can use the fourth industrial revolution to make our manufacturing more environmentally friendly, to make it more sustainable. Yeah, you see, I hope you see the relation between the industrial revolutions and why we can learn from the past industrial revolutions for the fourth industrial revolution. Yeah. And this is why I say, okay, also these working and organizational psychology skills are very important, because you can see if you go to working psychology, if you see about what is Taylorism and what are the other streams, what we had, the other working psychologies involvements, you can use them. Yeah, you can use it to make digital transformation in Industry 4.0 more human friendly. So what does it mean for organizations? What will Industry 4.0 change now? It will change everything. The structure in the organization. How is the organization organized in the future? What levels do you have? What job descriptions do you have? What job levels do you have? What is the impact on the salary? What if you automate something? Yeah, what can you automate? What will you outsource? Technologies. What tools will be used for work in the future? Yeah, generative AI is one example. The people, how we can continue to develop our people, how we can retrain them, how we can integrate them and let them participate in a digital transformation. The processes will change, how we will do things in the future, how we will do our work in the future, IT capabilities, how we will use data and information in the future, but also what we offer as a company. What kind of products are we producing? What kind of services are we offering? Is that something which will be needed in 10 years, in 20 years? If not, what else can we produce? What else can we offer as a service? Which services can we combine with our products? How we can enrich our products with digital services, for example, and also the whole business model, how we can make money in the future. Yeah, so it has a huge impact on the organization if you look on Industry 4.0 on a holistic view. And then we come again to the value chain, the value stream, which is very centered in Industry 4.0. The value chain is something which represents the stages of production. Yeah, it's a sequence of activities, and you think, okay, how in the end is the product manufactured in the end, or how is it developed in the end? Yeah. And these activities which you are bringing into a line to create this product in the end, this is what creates your value. Yeah. Accounting is necessary for your company, but it's not creating value for your company. Value is what you can sell to your customers in the end. Yeah. And the value chain is something which I have to always in my mind when I do transformation of industry processes, or when I bring digital transformation into a manufacturing company, or when I do anything else which is Industry 4.0 related. Yeah, I have to think about how the raw material is transformed into a product, what steps they are doing. This is the reason why I told you in the beginning, if I go to a customer company, I have to learn their whole way, how they produce their products. Yeah. If they produce a car, I have to learn how they are develop the product, how they design the car, how they're manufacturing the car, even how they do the customer service after the car was delivered to the customer. Yeah, I have to do this. Yeah, and you can go for a guy who is called Meinl E. Porter, and he had written a book in the year 1985, which is called Competitive Advantage. And this explains this concept of value chain and value stream. You see, it's like a history class. Yeah, we're talking about Industry 4.0, but it's like history class. I tell you about what is the first industrial revolution. Now I give you a book recommendation from 1985. But yeah, this is how I do my projects, where I get my knowledge. Yeah, I look from the past and learn from the past. So that brings us to a conclusion that Industry 4.0 needs more than just technologies. As I told you, technologies are the easiest thing. Yeah. What is more interesting for us is data. So there is a lot of data in the companies, in my customer companies, but they are not using it. And honestly, often they don't know that this data even exists. Yeah. And if they are aware it exists, the question is how we can connect our systems so that they have access to this data. Yeah. Then it is a lot about business processes. Yeah. I would say there is a reason why I'm a certified PMI business analyst, because I work a lot with processes. I work more with processes than with technologies as a project manager. And the most important thing is mindset. Yeah. So you have to take care of mindset of the people. Change and resistance against change are big topics. So my advice for you, if you want to work in Industry 4.0 projects, first rule is don't focus only on technologies. Second is take a close look to your business model and your business processes, bring them in perfect shape for digital future. Then work about the mindset of the company and think a lot about how you want to work in the future. Yeah, really create a vision about the company working in the future in 5 years, 10 years, how they can work. Yeah, 20 years. And then think about establishing a proper change management for your Industry 4.0 projects, because this is crucial. Otherwise, you can burn the money which you invest for Industry 4.0. If you don't have change management, there's a high risk that you will fail. If you can't do this on your own, and of course it's a lot of work, try to get somebody who has some experiences in Industry 4.0. This is really something I can give you as an advice. Even I am so long in Industry 4.0, I get experts for specific topics. I can't know all these things by my own. Yeah. So for example, when it comes to digital twins, I get a consultant for digital twins, and they know it much better because they only do digital twins. if I need somebody for injection molding, I go to somebody who is skilled in injection molding. Yeah. And all these things. Yeah. Get help from people who are very specialized in what they're doing. Yeah, this is all I wanted to tell you as a short introduction into Industry 4.0. Thank you for staying with me for that long time, and please feel free to connect on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Iris. Thank you so much. It was a great and wonderful to hear you from in the detailed part of Industrial Revolution 4.0. What you explained is quite a bit of combination, right? You touched the history, you brought the background,
Yeah.
you understood the idea behind actually how is it connected to the different industrial revolution, and then you shape it up the automotive industry, manufacturing background, and then even touching to the latest fourth industrial revolution technologies and the mindset and the change management. You fit it all together to the last slide ultimately. That was beautifully presented indeed. Thank you so
Sure.
much. We have questions. Definitely, we would like to ask the question. Audience is quite keen to get that answered. I have a couple of things coming in now in the Q&A. I'd like to post it to you there, of course. So I think the first question, what has come out from Mr. Joseph, you just answered it in the last slide.
Ah,
What strategies can we implement in managing successful project, connecting to the 4.0 as a strategy? So would you like to add up to that anything specific to from the last slide what you just left?
I would say see it really as a holistic journey. And what I see a lot, or what worries me a little bit when I look on Industry 4.0 in the UAE, is that it is much too technology focused. I see that with a lot of digital transformation projects in the UAE. Technology is the main thing, and it's not. Technology is just a tool.
Okay. So idea and message is be holistic. Don't
Yeah.
just go unilateral with the technology driven strategy to lead a kind of project in itself. Thinking 4.0 will happen.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think Hasib has asked the question, which is very fundamental and repetitive, by the way. It comes in each and every webinar connecting to the AI, right? So I think we know it. What is it? Losing the job in the perspective of Industry 4.0, when we don't want to be in that position. Do you see that happening that in the longer run with the 4.0 perspective?
I'm 17 years now in Industry 4.0, or is it a little bit shorter? I don't know. 2008. Yeah, 16 years now. I will give the answer to the audience. How many people do you think have lost their job in these years in my projects? That's what they really got fired. So can we go for the chat? Can you give me estimations? What do you think? How
Yeah.
many people?
So audience, please try to put that answer. She's asking that in your career, how many people you have seen being ousted
Yeah.
by the jobs, by the
What do you
percentage?
think? How many people?
How percentage of the people are typing it now, percentages.
No,
10.
it would be a real number would be also fine. Percentage, I don't know. It's
Okay.
not too
So
much.
the real number, guys,
Real
try to
number.
put some real number, absolute number. Anything, you just get a kind of range, at
Yeah.
least, okay, which that have been ousted by the situations. Okay, 5 to 10, 50 to 150, none,
Okay.
50 to 80, 20, and under 80. Everything is coming under 80 so far, mostly under
Should I give
80.
the solution? Two people. And they were not fired because they were replaced by the technology. They were fired because they were so resistant. They could not live with the thought that the technology will come into that. And what they did was they sabotaged the project. And if somebody is sabotage a project which costs several $1 million as budget, I can tell you there is one thing what the company will do, they will fire you.
Mm.
It was only two people in 16 years. Yeah. And
Okay.
they would not have lost their job if they would just adapt. Yeah.
Okay. So this was change management component was the main reason, not anything else.
No, it was fine because the rest of the 1,000 people, they could perfectly adapt. It was in two different projects and two different situations. And it was only that person who could not adapt. And I think the one time it was 1,200 people who were fine with the new technology and one could not adapt. Okay. And the second time, I'm not sure. I think it was 2,000 people and one person also could not adapt. Yeah. And
Okay.
if it comes, and we talked to the person several times, both times, and we tried to bring them down. But as soon as it came to sabotage, so it means that there was a financial damage, and then we had no other choice. Yeah.
Sure. So I think just to conclude that, see, the answer in a nutshell is AI alone cannot do that. Okay, it has to
No.
be a combination of AI plus and some more plus. Then only it can happen. Okay, it's not impossible, but there is a component.
I know, I don't think so, because if you have a good company, they know your value. If you're a skilled employee, if you have bring good performance, and they will think about if they can give you another role. And as I mentioned, with new technologies, there are coming new profiles, new job profiles, and you have to fill these new opportunities too. And why not taking the people which you know already for 5 years, 10 years, and you know they have a great performance, they have a great personality. Why not retrain them? So this is the approach what we usually do.
Thank you. Benil is asking about compliance, regulatory compliance part. So when we implement Industry 4.0,
Mm.
what's your experience with that regulatory compliances?
Yeah, the thing is that most of my customer companies, they introduce Industry 4.0 projects and spend the money to increase the compliance level. So for them, it is a topic to bring in more compliance in the organization. So it is one of the central topics what we have here. Yeah. And when it comes to manufacturing, you have to follow different standards, and the standards are globally, and you have to follow them. And there is sometimes not much room for creativity. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
That is the topic.
Okay, so we have 4 more questions. In fact, listed up here. We have a time. Almost we have a 2 minutes more kind of. Let me see which one is more interesting among these three to pick it up one, for example. Okay, I was respected projects. Okay, so let me just pick this one first without any biases, guys. So around that, what we are looking is that how industrial revolution, Industry 4.0 affected the project management practices in the last decade with your work experience. And intent of this question is how PM can be future ready. Question
Mm.
from Suraj Yadav.
Okay, what we had in Industry 4.0, I don't know. I think nobody knows it in Dubai. Maybe this is a topic for a workshop because it's a great approach. We had a project methodology which is called the V model. The V model is great for industry. It's not so common. I think it's a typical German thing. It was invented by the German government. You can find it sometimes in the US. It's a real big standard. I think it's about 800 or 900 pages long. And until a few years ago, it was very clear if you want to do an Industry 4.0 project, you have to use the V model. It was straight. Since 2016 and around, we have also sometimes the possibility to use a more agile approach. But it's still difficult because you have to be compliance and you have to meet the standards. So agile could be sometimes difficult for us because then we don't have the compliance and we don't meet the criteria here. So fully oil hybrid is okay. You can combine the V model with the agile approach, that's fine. But if you come to pure agile, for example, if you go for Scrum, it could be challenging in that area. It goes for some projects, but not for all of them. And yeah, mostly we are using the V model still.
Okay, thank you. One question is around the maturity, and one question is around the costing, and the one more we have is around emotional intelligence. So three different questions we have.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence and the communication skill, are they getting more relevant or less relevant over the period of Industry 4.0? What's your thought?
I think they were always
Exactly.
very,
I
very
also feel so.
important because, as I mentioned, I have this education in working in organizational psychology. For me, it was never that I not worked with emotional intelligence. I even didn't realize that it was something new. I thought, oh, this is crucial, I always do it. But I know that, especially in the beginning, I was very lonely with that approach because some of my customers called me Iris with the esoteric methodologies, and what they meant was something like change management. Yeah, this was for them esoteric. Yeah, because nobody is doing that. Yeah, exotic things. And so for me, it was always something which I brought in. This is also what I tried to tell you with these comparison with the previous industrial revolutions. I think it is very important to have also the psychology effect and to think about the human and the impact on the humans and talk about resistance and how we can decrease resistance. For me, it was always a topic. And maybe this is one of the reasons why I always had successful Industry 4.0 projects, because 75% of the projects in Industry 4.0 are still failing. Yeah, mine were always successful, but emotional intelligence for me, it was always there. Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Khalda Mohammed is asking why the maturity curve of 4.0? We started, you said that started 1999. Is it still ongoing, or is it still evolving, or is it ultimately we can go now? How does it looking like the maturity perspective?
No, the government, the German government is still having research projects on it. They are still doing it permanently. It was never stopped. They are doing their researches. If they're successful, I don't know, but at least they're researching. They were always good in research there. People sometimes say that we are not in Industry 4.0 anymore. We are already in 5.0, and some even say we are in 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think, yes, maybe this is true. But because it's so, yeah, there is so much dependencies between technologies and methodologies and mindset and this and this and this. It's hard to say, okay, is it still 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 7? It's more ongoing. Yeah, but we stopped counting somewhere. Some people say we are in X.0. Yeah, so I would say I still call it 4.0. Yeah, because if I would say something about 5.0, nobody would know what it is. Yeah. And I think it's already hard to explain what is 4.0, and that because some people say it's the fourth industrial revolution, the others call it industrial things or industrial things. Yeah, and the other things people say it's, I don't know, 4IR, and yeah, so many names. Yeah. So I think I'm very happy if the people understand this and understand what is the concept and what is needed. And I care less about, is it 4.0, 5.0, 6.0. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we are short of the time now, guys. So Rajesh and Girish, yes, apologies for not taking up your question last. But definitely, we would like to close the webinar tonight. We would want to really give a big thank to all of you audience. We have been seeing the great questions being asked. 120 plus people joined us today, and being the great audience to ask and then participate into the webinar. A big shout out to the friends at marketing team who have been responsible for posting all the relevant information about the social media and in the PMI UAE chapter websites as well. We would not say good night without saying the rest of the PMI chapter volunteers who have been doing successful hard work behind these webinars, and including the team from membership outreach, volunteering, finance, and governance. So thank you, Iris, once again for sharing your thoughts, your PPT, and your ideas, and answering those wonderful questions with us. Until our next webinar together with my colleague behind the camera, Amir, and the rest of the events team, this is Anchal wishing you pleasant evening ahead. God bless and stay safe. Thank you, Iris.
Thank you so much.
Thank
See
you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Good night, guys.